Hello YouTube, this is a June 2019 Yu-Gi-Oh! Budget Hero deck profile. So before I begin, I'd just like to announce that I do have some very cool deck profiles coming up. One of them is going to be Cubic, probably the next one. But besides Cubics, I do have 3 more already planned that should be really cool. So if you're interested in those decks particularly, or just in Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, and you check out my videos, so I would just say stay tuned because I do have some very cool decks to profile coming up. Anyway, on to Heroes. This deck actually functions pretty well for a budget deck. This video is really made for people who bought legendary hero decks and just need a few more cards to make the deck function as it properly should. So let's begin. We start off with the one elemental hero Stratos, which forgivably did not come out, was not released in the legendary hero decks because I believe it was banned at the time. Now back at 1. This card is pretty cool because upon normal or special, so kind of a starter and extender really, or kind of combo piece I guess, it can search any hero, and it's not just a destiny hero or a vision hero or an elemental hero, it's any hero. So pretty cool, and it can also pop spell or traps on the field up to the number of other hero monsters you control, but pretty much you're going to be using the search effect to search any pretty much any card in the deck. So next we have 3 Shadow Mist. So I run 3 because I do like the maximum opportunity to get Dark Claw in the field as possible. I do like seeing double Dark Claw if possible. So this card, if it's special, you can search Mask Change, and if it's dumped, you can search any hero. So another cool effect to search any hero, not just an elemental or a vision or a destiny. It's also, there's a lot of ways to special summon this card. I mean, you got Goblin Burke, you also got Solid Soldier. So next card is Goblin Burke. This card is kind of a staple in rank 4 decks because it's such a great way to like spam the field with rank 4s or with level 4s. And it is the primary way to special out that Shadow Mist. So next we have double Solid Soldier. This is the other way to special out. Sorry for that loud car noise. This is the other way to special out the Shadow Mist. Also, if it's sent to the grave by a spell effect, you can special a hero from the graveyard. It is an earth monster, so you can't use Mask Change on this monster for Dark Claw or Anki. But I mean, for example, if it was Darkhold or Raigeki, then you would be able to special a hero from the grave. It's also upon normal summon only, unlike Stratos, to get its effect. So next we have double Vision Hero Vion. This card is very necessary. I don't run Armageddonite because of a weird missing timing aspect of the card's ruling, I guess, with Armageddonite, because it is a 1 effect with Goblin Burke, because Goblin Burke is the last thing to happen in Goblin Burke's effect is switching to defense mode. Because it is a 1 effect, Armageddonite will miss timing. This card is an if effect, it will not miss timing. So upon normal or special, you can dump a hero monster from your deck to the grave. So that's going to be Shadow Mist or Malicious, but it could be other ones too. I run some of the weaker Destiny heroes because this is a budget deck. Also, you can banish a hero from your graveyard and add a polymerization from deck to hand. So I do run 2 polymerizations, so pretty useful card, Vision Hero Vion. Also just was reprinted. So I run double Malicious. This card, I think, is optional. It really helps you go into your Link monsters, but it is a level 6, so I mean, not ideal for your rank 4s at all. And also being at 2, it's a good option, just not as good as it was. I mean, if you draw one, the other one, it's pretty much dead. So like I said, this is a budget deck. Weaker Destiny heroes. I got a Drill Dark, which specials upon normal or specials another Destiny hero, not just a hero, but not every hero, but just a Destiny hero. It does piercing too, but there are some plays where you can normal Solid Soldier, special Drill Dark, and then special with Drill Dark another Destiny hero if you have the right hand. So I do run it, and it came out in Legendary Hero deck, so I just wanted to make this video as applicable and kind of accessible for everyone, because Legendary Hero decks was pretty popular, I think. So we got one Decider, which is a pretty decent card because it recurs a hero from the grave, not just any not just Destiny, but any hero. It also has an effect in the graveyard. If you take effect damage, you can turn it to 0 and return this card to the hand. If you're going to run more cards that were in the Legendary Hero decks, you could bump Drill Dark up to 2, and you could definitely bump Decider up to 2. This is a pretty decent card, actually. One Diamond Dude. Because I do run a fair amount of normal spells, and the chances of excavating a normal spell is pretty high. One Celestial, which pops a face-up spell your opponent controls. Obviously not going to be applicable in every matchup, but you know, pendulums, field spells, continuous spells, equip spells, that could happen. The better effect, I would say, is banishing this card plus another Destiny Hero in the graveyard to draw 2 cards. So if you wanted to bump these 2 up to 2, I would keep Celestial for the draw power. And finally, for the monsters, I have 1 Dreamer, which protects your other Destiny Heroes from battle, and you special summon this card. So sometimes if your opponent is only attacking with 1 monster, you can protect that monster and then next turn use them for material. So a decent card, Dreamer. So those are the monsters. For the spells, I have triple Mask Change. Like I said, I like seeing double Darklaw on the field because Darklaw is not a hard once per turn. It's also a pretty cool Mask Change because it's not like Polymerization, which requires, you know, at least 2 monsters to make that fusion play. This one only requires 1 with a, you know, a dark attribute monster. So pretty cool because it allows you to get more extra deck monsters on the field for less of a price, really less materials. It's also a quick play too, so you can kind of surprise your opponent with a Darklaw sometimes. So I'm running 3 Emergency Calls. This card is annoyingly expensive for a common, but it adds 1 elemental hero from deck to hand. Pretty much like 3 more Rotas for the important monsters. So 3 Allure of Darkness as well. Pretty necessary for the draw power. Most of the deck is dark except for Stratos and Solid Soldier and Goblin Burke. But I mean, that's a lot of dark monsters, and the draw power is really nice. I don't run Destiny draw because I don't run enough Destiny Hero monsters, but if you wanted to run, like I said, more Destiny Hero monsters, you could put in those Ultra and Common Destiny draws that you did get in Legendary Hero decks. So because this is a budget deck, Effect Veiler is kind of pricey. I mean, for people who do want to save money, and Forbidden Chalice is quite a bit cheaper, especially buying 3. So it's a decent card too. I mean, quick play that negates effects. Also buffs up a monster. If you do decide to buff up your own monster, that can be a play that Effect Veiler doesn't have the option to do. So I mean, there is that. 2 Polymerization to make your fusion plays that are not the Mask Change related ones. Also is searchable by Vion and Blazeman if you did decide to run Blazeman. 2 Pot of Desires, which is now a common reprint. Pretty cool. I mean, you could drop this down to 1. I think 2 is max in this deck. You don't want to run 3 in this deck. But 2 is not too bad, and 1 is fine too. 1 is probably the conservative amount to run. The draw power is really nice because you do need more cards in your hand to make your starting play sometimes. So for the one-ofs, just get these out of the way. For the one-ofs, we got 1 A Hero Lives, which is kind of your primary starter because if you control no face-up monsters, you pay half your life points to special summon an elemental hero from the deck. So it is the way to special Shadow Mist if you don't have it in your hand, or another way to special summon it in your hand. Paying half your life points is kind of a hefty cost because I do run 1 other card where you also pay a lot of life points. It's probably worth it though. It's a great card. So 1 Foolish Burial to send your Malicious or Shadow Mist or even Celestial or Decider or Dreamer to the grave. 1 Rhoda, because the whole deck is Warriors, obvious choice. Monster Reborn, again, obvious choice. You're lacking a monster, you need more materials. Monster Reborn. 1 Dark Hole, because this did come out in Legendary Hero decks, the Ultra, I believe. I think 2 copies of that card came out in Legendary Hero decks, but Dark Hole is a pretty good choice. I mean, solid board wipe. And then finally 1 Trap, 1 Solemn Scolding, because you don't have many cards set most of the time. Forbidden Chalice or Mask Change are really going to be the only ones that, besides Scolding, that you set. And this is, I mean, if there is such a thing as a literal Omni Negate in Yu-Gi-Oh!, this negates literally everything except for spell and trap effects. It only negates spell and trap cards. But I mean, this negates pretty much the most of any card ever, I think, if I'm right about that. So at the cost of 3,000 life points and being the only card set, you can negate anything. So pretty strong card. Definitely a weaker Solemn card, but still pretty good. So for the extra deck, I'm running a Dread Decimator and a Wonder Driver. I think a lot of people did not like Dread Decimator when it first came out because it only does piercing and gains attack. But its arrows are really nice, and you can link Wonder Driver into Dread Decimator. So that is sometimes a pretty good play to extend the board and get these sideways, down, left, down, right pointing arrows. Wonder Driver just recurs your Polymerization or Mask Change from the grave. Also allows you to special a hero from your hand. It does point up, unfortunately, but sometimes Sometimes a decent board is just Wonder Driver here and Dark Claw here. That's sometimes what you can do. So it's not too bad, and you can get that mask change right back. So if you do decide to link into Dread Decimator the next turn, you do have another mask change. So more link monsters, we have double Wee Witch's Apprentice. You know, most of the deck, like I said, is dark, so pretty obvious choice. I mean, I really like the elemental links a lot. Mrs. Radiant is probably one of my all-time favorite Yu-Gi-Oh cards anyway. And then finally for the link monsters, we have an Isolde. I do run one Isolde, no equip spells, because I tried it with the equip spells. I found myself opening 2 equip spells too early, running 5 equip spells, and I'm left with a bunch of equip spells now, so I didn't run them. But the Surge effect is good, and sometimes you have Solid Soldier plus 2 dark monsters on the field. I find this situation happening to me a lot, and I have Mask Change in my hand, and if I use both dark monsters for Wee Witches, then I would be left with the Earth monster, Solid Soldier, which I can't use Mask Change on, so I use Solid Soldier and then one of the dark monsters on Isolde, and the last dark monster I use for Dark Claw. So kind of a specific scenario that I do decide to run Isolde because of. So those are the link monsters. For some just staple rank Forest, we have the one that came out in Legendary Hero decks, Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon. You probably could run Thanatos or Nightmare Evil Swarms if you don't want to go for these other rank boards, if you want to stick to the ones that were Legendary Hero decks. But I do have the staples, Castel, Cowboy, Dweller, and Honorarch. I mean, Graveyard, Shutting Down, Can't Be Destroyed, and also gets rid of spot removal, cheeky way to cheese out a victory right there. So pretty obvious again. And then finally for the fusion monsters, I'm running 2 Dark Claw, not 3, because I do want to make space for the Anki. Double Dark Claw, like I said, it's not a hard once per turn, so you can rip cards out of your opponent's hand, multiple cards, and also totally interrupts the graveyard. I mean, Dark Claw, banishing all the cards that were sent to the graveyard instead of sending them to the graveyard, that is a huge disadvantage to your opponent. This is really the boss monster. This is the goal of the deck. You could bump this up to 3, especially running 3 Mask Change and Shadow Mist. And Anki, because I do run 3 Mask Change, I do have it in here just to search that Mask Change, and doing 1400 direct damage is not too bad either. And then finally for the polymerization related fusions, I'm running a Dangerous and a Dystopia. Again, this, instead of Anki, you could run a 3rd Dark Claw. Instead of a Dystopia, you could run a 2nd Dangerous. I don't really find myself going into Dystopia too much, because I don't have any cards that alter attack, except for Forbidden Chalice, which also negates the effect, so it would be useless. But it would pop a card, quick effect. Doesn't happen too often, but Dangerous is a Foolish Burial for Destiny Heroes, so that's actually pretty useful. Yeah, not too bad at all, Dangerous. So that is the budget hero deck profile for June 2019. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I have some really cool deck profiles coming up, so stay tuned. Thanks, bye-bye.